How's it going, everyone? Spencer Reynolds here with Fujikura Golf, and today we are at the Club Champion in Del Mar, California. We're hanging out with Greg and Andy, and we're going to talk a little bit about new Ventus Red and new Ventus Black. Now, you guys have been at this for a while. You've had experience with original Ventus Red and Black. So before we jump into the new parts, we already introduced a new Ventus Blue earlier this year. You've had some time with that. You've had some fittings with that. This is pretty new for you. You've only got this in the shop for a couple weeks now, right? So I'd be curious, before we get into the details of the new stuff, what are some of the successes that you saw with the original Ventus Red and Black? So not necessarily TR, we're going all the way back to 2019-ish when we launched this. And what have you seen with fittings?
I mean, it's been a great product. There's no question about that. I mean, obviously dispersions and ball speeds and everything else have been great with the original. So I'm surprised that you guys are able to make it so much better.
That's the plan.
Because it was pretty darn good to begin with, to be honest with you. It was
good.
You know, we basically, you could fit anybody into one of your Ventuses. It was, you know, it's so good and so stable that the red, blue, or black was going to fit somebody.
Yeah, we love to hear that. That's great. That's one of the reasons we do the 3-profile setup, is we realize there's not one shaft that's going to fit all golfers. We're a very fitting-centric company. You guys are a very fitting-centric company, so it's a good marriage. So what I'd like to do today is, Greg, I think you're going to hit some shots, right? You're going to hit some of the new red, new black. And as we do that, we'll kind of get into the more technical details. It tells a similar story that we saw with blue earlier this year. We've upgraded VeloCore technology to VeloCore Plus. What we're seeing is some heightened ball speeds, tighter dispersion, a little livelier feel. You kind of mentioned off camera you'd seen some of those things as well, which is great. That's exactly what we're going for. So let's get over to the bay. Let's hit a few shots. We'll talk through it on a more technical scale. We can talk about bend profiles, technology, and see how we net up.
Love it. Let's do it.
So I'm going to start you out with the new Ventus Red. So I'll give you a little bit of product history story before you hit it. It is built off the same profile as the original Ventus Red, so not Ventus Red TR, but the original Ventus Red. What that has is a pretty stiff handle section, a little bit of a softer midsection, and kind of a stiff tip section to just maintain some stability. The main thing that we're going to talk about is the same thing we talked about with the new Ventus Blue, which is VeloCore Plus technology. So just as a refresher for what that is, the original product line all had VeloCore technology, which is a combination of high tonnage materials that runs the entire length of the shaft. Essentially what that is for us is just a very, very stable platform for us to build different bend profiles around. With new Ventus, we retooled that a little bit. We increased the tonnage of some of those materials. We added a third material to the bias core. The goal there was to increase ball speed, increase consistency, and give it a little more lively feel. Now, all that being said, why don't you just hit a few shots, and then we can get some live player feedback, and then we'll talk through that as well. Andy's going to run the numbers, and then we'll look at it when you're done.
All right, sounds good.
So, Greg, have you played any Ventus products in the past?
Yes, I currently play the Ventus Red TR 5S.
Got it.
So this is pretty close. I mean, as far as weight, it's the same weight.
Yeah, same weight, same flex, a little different profile than TR. With TR, we have that additional spread toe material in the mid-handle section. Stiffens up the product just a little bit in that specific section. And also, all TR models are a little bit lower launching and lower spinning than the originals. So I'll be curious to kind of see, this should feel a little bit different, but it's still in the family,
There's no question it does feel a little different. It actually does exactly what you said. It feels a little more lively. I feel like it
got a little pop to it.
Pop to it, yeah. And what I'm feeling is just like you said. I just feel like it's just a little bit livelier.
Yeah. And anytime we increase tonnage or change tonnage in shafts to make things, more stable, we have to be conscientious of the fact that we want our clubs to have some feel, and that's where we balance that out with other materials. We don't want you to swing a telephone pole. That might be really consistent, but it's 6:20 in the morning and you're on the tee box. You really don't want to hit that. So we wanted to have some give to it. So the goal here is enough liveliness and feedback that you can feel it, but not too much to detract from kind of the overall consistency of the club.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So go ahead and hit a few more. It's a good start. So that's a good one for me to ask you about. Okay, so that would be a mishit shot, a little thin, a little bit more left than you'd like to see. But we're talking about this mishit shot. We want to corral those as best we can. So we all know there's going to be some mishit shots. So our goal is, when it's great, it's great. If it's not great, we want to make sure it's still playable, right? Still somewhat in the fairway. And I would ask you, even though the shot's a little bit thin, feel-wise, I mean, did it feel like it got away from you too much, or too polar opposite from the other?
To be totally honest, I tried to swing harder.
Yeah.
Just to see what would happen.
Sure.
So I kind of swung out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Club head speed didn't go up anyways, but but I did swing out of my comfort zone.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Well, let's look at a few of these. Andy, if you want to pull up just kind of the shot map, and we'll talk through these a little bit. So you start to see some pretty consistent numbers, which we love to see from a fitting perspective, right? So we know that if you got a little extra gas and you hit one a little faster, that's great. But what we really like to see is the consistency across the board. So aside from that last shot, really, everything floats right around the same ball speed, if not a little bit faster.
Exactly.
And we see the same thing happen with spin rates, right? Everything's kind of between that 1900 and 2000 range. You know, we look at launch angles, everything's kind of within a degree of itself. And that's what we're looking for, because if you're going to have some mishit shots, we're looking for overall consistency. So I would ask you, TR Red's a little bit different profile, like we talked about, but your thoughts after hitting that golf club, is that something you could throw in the bag? Is that something
most
you could?
definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, most definitely, because it's livelier than my TR, Ventus TR.
Yeah.
Which I like, you know, the red TR has been great.
Sure.
But I do like this, feels just a little more lively.
Good.
Like you said.
That's
So
perfect.
I
That's what we're
probably
going
get a little extra yardage, and I think it's going to help as far as center hits.
And for you guys as fitters, the reason I asked you earlier kind of things that you had seen with the original Ventus line is when we came out with an upgrade to the original Ventus line, it's not a new profile. It's a new product, but it's not really a new profile.
Right.
So our goals are a little bit challenging, and that is we need to make something that performs better in areas where golfers need it most, like consistency, ball speed, you know, overall feel. But we don't want to mess with bend profile and specs all that much, right? Because what we want you to be able to do as fitters is say, I know what original red, blue, and black did, and this is just an improved version of that. We've just enhanced them with some new tech, and that's kind of the goal, is to improve performance in the areas that aren't going to hinder anything. So we didn't want to make something that spun a lot more, launched a lot lower, a lot higher. And then even when we talk about red, something that we always point out too is that it is the highest launching Ventus product. It is not necessarily a high launch and high spin shaft. We make high launch and high spin shafts. It's just the highest of the family. So I know you guys probably get that question as fitters, like, I need to hit it up in the air, I need to spin it more. Well, you know, it's going to do that compared to the others, but it's not necessarily a high launch and high spinning shaft. So I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit. I know you're kind of in the red comfort zone right now. Let's switch into a black, just so you can hit it and experience it. Not saying that's the right fit, but just so you kind of have something to compare it to. So when guys come in to get fit, you can say, hey, I hit it, and this is kind of what I felt, and you know, hopefully some of those same things will line up. So let's swap that out. We'll go from there. All right, so we hit some shots with the red, which is very good, by the way. Glad to hear that you liked it. It is kind of in your wheelhouse. Now I'm going to push you outside your comfort zone just a little bit. Now this is really just so you can hit both models. Now the black profile is kind of for that higher ball speed player, or players that prefer really minimal flex and movement during the swing. Really stiff handle section, stiff midsection, ultra stiff tip section. So we're engineering a shaft that has sort of that really kind of tight, limited flex feel to it. It's also a lower launching, lower spinning part. So this is the lowest launching, lowest spinning of the Ventus family. TR, again, will be a little bit lower than this, but as far as this Ventus lineup, this is the low launch, low spin version. We have tried to integrate some of that feel back into it though. So like we talked about with original, with the new blue, and we talked about with the new red, we do want to add a little bit of pop and feel into it without making it get away from what the shaft's engineered. Do you think?
All right.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Give it a shot.
All right.
A little different feel?
Yeah, it is, you know, still actually, you know, I can still feel some flex, though.
Good.
So I was surprised. I didn't think I'd feel any flex. But it is definitely, you know, a little firmer.
It's more stout, yeah.
Yes, it's more stout.
Yeah.
No question.
And yeah, Andy makes a great point. You start to see spin rates go down, you know, launch goes down a little bit, and that's really kind of where we're at with this profile. It's what it's designed to do.
Right. So I purposely tried to hit it higher to see what would happen.
See what we do? Yeah, you definitely got it up there.
Spin went down though.
That's a low spinner there.
Yes. This would be good into a hurricane.
That's right. This is your Lynx driver.
Again, trying to hit it higher. But
there you go.
probably a little left.
That one you cut the middle.
Okay. All right, Andy, if you want to pull up just kind of the shot map here, or just the averages, we'll kind of talk. Yeah.
You want to see the dispersion?
Let's just talk about the numbers a little bit first.
Okay,
So
all right.
what's cool to me to see is this is a profile that's not necessarily suited to your game, right? If you came into your bay and you said, okay, what should I get fit into? Probably wouldn't be the one you pulled.
No.
But there's some real highlights to look at here. Even though this isn't your profile, see how consistent all the ball speeds are?
Yeah.
And you see how consistent, all the spin rates are?
Yeah.
And except for the couple that you tried to hoist up in the air, your launch numbers are the same.
Right.
What's cool is the ones that you did try to hit up in the air, it didn't.
Right.
So the shaft is really hanging in and performing with you tit for tat. Whatever you're trying to make it do, it's going to do for you.
Right.
I think the really cool thing to see was how consistent it was.
Right.
Now, if I had handed you a very stiff kind of Ventus black profile, not really in your wheelhouse, maybe you didn't expect to hit it quite that well. Maybe you didn't expect for it to feel the way that it felt. But hopefully you're getting that sense of what we try to do with this whole new line, which is keep all the metrics the same, keep the highlights the same, improve where we can improve, and one of those categories is feel. So, you've obviously steered away from those kind of low launch, low spin profiles in the
But
past.
you're right, this has way more feel
Great.
than I would have expected.
Great.
It definitely, I can still feel the shaft, which I was expecting was just going to be a telephone pole.
Yeah,
But
and we've
actually
seen
it has
that.
some feel.
That's perfect, because we've seen that as a pleasant surprise with higher ball speed players. The first couple shots, they're like, I think I'm actually hitting this one a little bit crooked. Then you look at the TrackMan data, they're not. It's just they're used to those profiles feeling so boardy and so stiff that we've tried to integrate feel along with the metrics that they need for performance. So you're kind of seeing the through line throughout this new lineup of product.
Right.
We hope that's an easy story for you guys to tell to your customers.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here today from Fujikura. Greg, Andy, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for hanging out. Any final thoughts from either one of you guys about the new product?
Well, I definitely loved it. Again, it has a little bit more feel. I feel like I've gained a few more yards, which is always good.
Always good.
So, yes,
That's always good.
It is
All
always
right.
good.
Our goal is to arm you guys with some new tools for your tool belt. So the new lineup is all available to you now. You've got red, you've got blue, you've got black, you've got TRs, you've got everything that you need to go out and fit. Like I said earlier, we're a very fitting citric company. So are you. We want to make sure that you have the best products to fit your customers with. So log on to clubchampion.com, find a club champion near you to get fit. Log on to fujikuragolf.com to learn more information about the new Ventus lineup. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, awesome.
Thanks again. Have a good one.
Thank you.